Hello, welcome to this your channel, the better Eurofan. Thanks to me. There were high expectations with Belgium during last year's contest with a very well-known name in the country that brought a proposal that seemed to be groundbreaking. But unfortunately, the live performance presented by Misty did not achieve with the anticipated expectations, resulting in a serious flop by placing 13th in his semi-final. Even so, Belgium does not miss its Eurovision appointment, looking to amend the mistakes committed to be among the finalists again. Now we will see who was being the artist that had the task of representing the Belgian nation on the main stage of Basel. Let's go! For today's episode, I'm going to review the Belgian entry for Eurovision 2025, which has been represented by the singer Red Sebastian with the song Strobe Lights. While we get ready and set on move, let's discover more about this proposal with which he has starred in a party like no other. Without further delay, let's move on with the review. We start reviewing his biography and career before having the chance of living the Eurovision experience in Switzerland. Sepp Harreman, mostly well known as Red Sebastian, is a Belgian singer and songwriter coming from the coastal city of Ostend and currently lives in the city of Ghent, located in western Belgium. He shows wide interest for music since very early age, starting to play piano at the age of 9 and studying singing classes at the age of 12 in a local musical school. His broad talent as a performer would lead him to start participating in singing competitions. In fact, in 2013, at the age of 14, he would have his first contest with the stages by participating in the second season of the Belgian version of Got Talent, where he will reach the final show in that season. This first experience will be decisive for him, therefore starting to project his future as a musical artist. After his time by the competition, he will continue his high school studies, and after graduating, he moves to the city of Ghent in 2017, where he will continue his musical education in the Royal Academy of Fine Arts of Ghent. During his time in the academy, he had the chance to get singing classes from renowned artists in the Belgian musical scene, standing out from them to the singer Gustav, who was the Belgian representative at Eurovision 2 years ago during the edition held in Liverpool, United Kingdom. Thereafter, in 2019, he will pursue his musical career independently under his current stage name. In this sense, the name takes inspiration from the Red Sebastian, one of the main characters of the animated movie The Little Mermaid, of whom he has been a huge fan since childhood. Then he releases his debut studio album in 2021 with tracks that blend electropop and soul, achieving a moderate success in the Belgian musical charts. And 2 years later, he would release his first EP, which had a much modest performance. More recently, during last year, he participates in the first season of the talent show Sing Again, where he will get to the final show. Despite not winning that competition, his time by the show earned him more recognition and allowed him to settle in the Belgian musical scene, and also a record deal with a Dutch record label earlier this year. Artistically speaking, Red Sebastian adopts a style characterized by his powerful voice, with an aesthetic marked by quite eccentric outfits where, as expected, he is predominantly red, as he could not be in other way. About his musical influences, he usually mentions the American singers Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and especially to Christina Aguilera, who cites as the reason that led him to become a singer. On the other hand, he also has commented that he has been a huge fan of both Eurovision and Junior Eurovision, usually following the national finals that have been organized throughout the years for both contests. And since he saw Loreen winning with Euphoria in 2012 during the edition held in Baku, Azerbaijan, he has tried to represent his country in several occasions, staying determined to the idea that someday he could be on the contest's main stage. Let's see then how he finally gets the chance to accomplish his Eurovision dream. Keeping up with the rotatory dynamic between the two Belgian broadcasters that take part at Eurovision, the Belgian Flemish public broadcaster broadcaster had turned its time to select the next representative that will head to Basel, opting once again for their national final Eurosong, which has been recently rescued in the last edition of 2 years ago, although implementing some changes. An expert panel appointed by the broadcaster will have talks with many record labels and musical producers to find the potential contestants to take part in the process, with each shortlisted artist presenting 2 songs. These artists will have a closer audition phase being reviewed by another expert panel that will select the 8 artists that will take part in the national final. This will be announced in last mid-November as well, being Red Sebastian among the chosen ones, while their entries were announced in last mid-January, releasing a short snippet of each one of them. This will represent a significant difference from the previous edition 2 years ago, as the song for each selected artist will have been decided beforehand by the second expert panel instead of the artists themselves. The preliminary shows will be aired in late last January, were pre-recorded in last December, where each contestant will perform both its entry, without any staging, and a past Eurovision entry. In the case of Red Sebastian, in addition to perform Strobe Lights, he will perform Arcade by Duncan Lawrence, the Eurovision winning song in 2019 during the edition held in Tel Aviv, Israel. Thereafter, during the final show, which took place in early last February, the voting results revealed that Red Sebastian was the undisputable favorite for both the jury and the public, getting on to win the national final in an overwhelming way and subsequently gaining the right to represent Belgium on the main stage of Basel. After his victory in the national final, he will work in the recording and production of the official music video for his proposal that will be officially released in last mid-March. A track with a lot of party and a lot of red. Now we will discover a little more about this proposal with which he has attended the contest. The melody is an electropop track with elements from rave, following the trend of his musical work so far, while in the other hand I find his voice quite versatile, spanning from low and middle registers in the verses to quite high registers in the chorus. The lyrics have been written fully in English by Red Sebastian himself together with a group of Belgian songwriters, where stands out from them the Belgian singer Astrid Rolands, mostly well known as Amira, who already took part in the national final 2 years ago and was participating this time as a songwriter. Talking about the context behind it, he has commented himself that the track essentially describes what happens during a party night out, making a note to the 1990s rave culture in the country, pointing out those moments in which you do not have any clue of what could happen as the most memorable ones, encouraging to take the most of those experiences to the fullest. Reading the lyrics more in detail, it is perceived as an immersive and sensorial experience, while the narrative gets into the rave party with a person that will join the lead character with the strobe lights on the background that we usually find in this kind of parties, from here the song's title of course. Using references from the tales of Alice in Wonderland and through the looking glass and what Alice found there, it describes the moment of taking the part of the party as entering in a portal to unknown dimensions where the notions of space and time become trivial. For those who know the tales from a not so childish perspective, it becomes quite easy to relate the contest from many of the parts of both tales with what it implies to take part on a rave party. If you have been in one at least, you know perfectly the one I'm talking about, so I'm not going to explain too much, and I will leave that. It could be said that the message that intends to be transmitted with the track is quite specific and simple. As long as you can, we have to have fun and enjoy the good things of life to the fullest, being happy and authentic with ourselves. With the widely festive dynamic presented with the proposal, it wasn't that difficult to think how he would intend to transmit it during the official music video, so let's take a look. The plot begins displaying a warning message saying that the video has flashing effects and strobe lights because, as we know, this can have side effects on people suffering on epilepsy or similar disorders. After this message, the initial chorus is heard while Red Sebastian is seen wearing a red suit getting on an elevator that is initially empty, seeing later flashing effects with the elevator signs and its transitions into the first verse. During the first verse, the dynamic inside the elevator changes, seeing different scenes which alternate. First with Red Sebastian wearing one of his red casual outfits while he is literally in a rave party inside the elevator with a large group of people. Other ones are him looking at dystopic views as the elevator stops in the different floors. Other more ones of the elegant and party versions of Red Sebastian together in the elevator. Another additional ones of him performing the track over an underground location with red strobe lights. The dynamic remains quite similar throughout the song, standing out in a shot in particular during the second verse where the two alter egos of Red Sebastian are seen joining their hands like the elevator doors were a mirror, with one being the reflection of the other one, evidently making allusion to the tale of Through the Looking Glass and what Alice found there, which is the sequel of the first tale the song Alice mentioned before. The succession of the different shots continues, adding a shot from above where he is seen held out by the people in the rave party during the final chorus until the performance finishes with everyone remaining static while the red strobe lights are seen along the background and the elevator doors close. Before the release of the official music video, he already had the chance to set his own rave party with the representation of his proposal in the national final. So now we will see initially how was his live performance during his participation at Eurosong. Regarding the staging in the national final, it begins with close-ups of Red Sebastian performing the track with a background of textures in red and black, until there is a moment where a wider shot is seen, noticing that he is on the top of the platform that almost reaches the ceiling of the venue, wearing an outfit with the same tones of the textures and shapes used in the visual graphics, that are also supported with lighting in red and white tones, as well as smoke on the stage floor. The close-ups and the wide shots alternate during the performance, noticing for instance that the platform is slowly going down until it finally reaches the stage floor. That is evident with a group of dancers joining him at each side of him before the final chorus, then moving with them in different moments like they were dancing in a rave party until the end of the performance. Sadly, it was the most outstanding performance of the night, even considering the fact that he opted for a quite simple staging. Most of the performance had been focused in his performance skills, as the dances appear almost at the end without having not much to add to the performance. What I saw surprising was the great ability and the vocal skills he had on stage, because we are talking of a song that is not easy to perform at all, taking into account how many vocal choices he has, and it is fair to say that his vocal performance was spectacular and praiseworthy. He had planned to turn the stage in a rave party as he had stated initially, and that was clearly evident in the way he won, in that forcefulness that had fascinated both the jury and the public. Sometime later, he would take most of the conceptual staging during the live performances he had in the different Eurovision parties of the season, developing little by little as the possible dark horse that could give the surprise in the edition. For the staging in Basel, it was predicted that it would have the same festive dynamic that we saw both in the national final and the music video, and it was evident somehow after seeing the first rehearsals, although with some details that came to attention. The dancers featuring the national final will be discarded to incorporate 3 backing singers instead, that will wear outfits in red and black in a very similar trend used by Red Sebastian in the national final, while he will stand out much more with a red outfit much more flashier than the one from the music video. On the other hand, the visual graphics will remain similar and the lighting will remain in red and white tones as well. Watching his live performance in the first semi-final, it begins with a close-up of Red Sebastian while he performs the initial chorus, until a wide shot is seen watching him initially at the left side of the front of the stage. The visual graphics are much sophisticated compared to the ones seen throughout the season, which together with the lighting effects and the camera plays, it gets widely your attention as Red Sebastian performs the track. For the first chorus, he kneels on the stage floor while he sees his own reflection in the last grains of it, then later getting out and walking moving to the other side of the front of the stage, where the backing singers are seen that are distributing all over the area. The flashy dynamic continues during the second verse, and there is a moment when Red Sebastian walks while performs choreographed movements with the backing singers that, if it is watched robustly, they add later were trails of Red Sebastian himself by imitating his movements. With the second chorus, the backing singers remain at the front of the stage while Red Sebastian moves little by little to the bottom of the stage, reaching to the climax of the performance in the final chorus, doing his vocal extravaganza while a rave party is shown in the visual graphics until the performance finishes with the whole stage in red. It was seeing this performance and getting hallucinated with the way he presented the proposal. With all that was happening on the stage, it was impossible to not pay attention to all the details. In addition, Red Sebastian himself had a flawless vocal performance to the point that I was thinking that he was not only going to qualify easily to the grand final, but also he would become a strong contender for the crystal microphone. And effectively, the surprise was coming, but in the most unexpected way possible. The voting results revealed that he does not only fail to have one of the 10 spots for the grand final, but also finishing second to last in his semi-final. To this day, I still find unbelievable that this resounding performance had been underestimated by the public, leaving him out of the grand final. Making a summary of all the comments, the Belgian entry for this year has been quite interesting for me. I had to admit that the song did not get my attention initially, but with the time I got more and more interested in it, to the point that, as I have commented before, I thought that it could be the strong contender among all the entries that initially were big favorites in the edition. But here comes the question: how is that a very well presented and well done proposal ended up disqualified? Besides the fact that I like it very much and that I was quite shocked with the result, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that, I can sense that it was because of the topic of the proposal itself. While it is true that the rave movement is quite popular in Belgium, Germany and Netherlands, it goes much more unnoticed in the rest of Europe. From here, the cause that probably a very good part of the audience could not feel that identified with the background and the message of the proposal. The final result represents the second disqualification in a row for Belgium, standing out in particular that unfortunately had the same fate as its predecessor. It was an entry that had very high chances to stand out, but in the end did not achieve the expected result, although for me he deserved to be in the grand final. Despite the result achieved, Red Sebastian has stated to be very proud of his proposal, having presented it exactly the way he wanted, although sometimes she cannot explain why something is turned out the way it does, but that despite everything he has felt loved and thankful for accomplishing his dream. Naturally, he has moved forward with his musical career, having scheduled a concert tour by Belgium and Netherlands, and recently on last June he has released his latest single, implying that it could be a teaser of what it will be his next studio album that he could probably release by next year. This has been the Belgian proposal of this year for the contest. Now tell me, what do you think in your case? Does this rave party started by him get you on mood, or maybe you are not of another kind of parties? Come on and leave your comments down below thus we can follow the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. Before I finish, don't forget to like this video if it has been of your taste, so you can bring me your support and you help me to this content to be spread among more people. Subscribe to my channel and enable notifications by hitting the bell and follow me through my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.